I decided to pick up a couple products by REM Beauty. And if you don't know what REM Beauty is Ariana Grande's makeup brand. So I picked up a blush and I got this nice corally peach blush and then a bronzer. So we are going to review a blush and a bronzer in today's video. And let's get started. Okay, so a little bit about this blush. This is a satin matte blush. And this is what the packaging looks like. It's very simple, nice gray with some white writing. And there is the actual shade. And mine is in the shade Peach Planet. Now let me tell you, I think I paid for this. I'm gonna put Canadian and US on the screen as well. But for the blush, I paid $28 and I picked mine up from Shoppers Drug Mart. And then for the bronzer, I got mine in the shade Out of Office, and this retails for $32. Let's get started. I'm going to apply some primer and foundation with you guys, so you guys can see what I'm using with these two products. So let's start with the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. This is such a nice primer. It has a nice I don't know, very lemony scent. Lemony scent. Very citrusy. So just a little bit. I already have my skincare and my sunscreen on. So what do you guys think of REM Beauty? I'm excited. These are the two products that I own by REM Beauty. I don't have anything else. And I was excited to get a powder blush and a powder bronzer. I'm also going to compare it in today's video with my similar shades in Dior and Patrick Ta, and then some more powder bronzers, so I can give you kind of an idea on what the product feels like and looks like. And for my foundation, I'm going to go with my trusted foundation. This is the Shiseido Revitalessence Skin Glow. Mine is in the shade 130. This is such a great foundation. I have been wearing it and it's just not letting me down at all, with no matter what primer I use or skincare underneath. So I'm going to go in with my Merit brush and just push in the product at first, and I'm going to go in with my beauty blender or beauty sponge. I think that the REM Beauty products are quite affordable. Like for $30 you get like a bronzer or a blush. It's not that expensive compared to other brands at Sephora. Very similar probably to the Rare Beauty. Hard to compare because Rare Beauty has liquid blushes, but it's in the same price range. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with my beauty sponge. So I already have my eyes done. For eyes, I've used my Patrick Ta Major Dimension 3 palette. Very nice smoky nude eye look. And for my mascara, I already have my L'Oreal Panorama mascara. This has been my favorite. That's all I use. I just am ignoring all the other ones. And I've also used my Sephora Collection eye pencil. This is in the shade Black Lace, just for contouring the eyelids. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, so let's get into the blush and the bronzer. I'm not going to use any concealer today. I think this foundation also acts like a nice brightening concealer. Okay, so here is the blush. This is considered to give the cheeks a natural sun-washed kiss with an ultra sensorial, virtually weightless powder blush that melts into the skin. Perfectly lightweight for a soft pop of buildable satin matte color. It is the Hypernova Satin Matte Blush in the shade Peach Planet. Ooh, look how pretty it looks. So the size, let me compare it to my Dior blush, since we're talking about blushes, so you can see kind of the size. It looks like a nice spaceship. I love that it has a see-through area here where you can actually see the blush. Very pretty. And that's what it looks like inside. Ooh, I'm loving the shade. Very similar to similar, not very, but when you open it up, they're quite similar inside. But yeah, I'm gonna swatch it. So it doesn't have a smell or anything. Let's see, this is made in Italy and it has 5 grams of product, and the Dior one has 4.6 grams, so keep that in mind. So let's feel it. It feels very buttery. So let's swatch it on the hand here. Very nice buttery. I love the feeling. It feels like a cream to powder, but it's not. It's just a satin blush. So that's Peach Planet. Ooh, I love it. I was gonna go for the pink one, but I have so many pink blushes now. Now, the Dior one, I'm gonna swatch. This is in the shade 004 Coral. This is more harder to swatch, but to keep them like this, you can see that the Dior one looks a little bit towards more pink. This is more warm. I'll try my best to swatch the Dior one as well. This is always harder, but on the cheek, it looks very pretty. Okay, so there's the Dior one in the shade Coral. It pulls more pink, the Dior one. And I have another one in similar, which is the Patrick Ta in Do We Know Her? And it's this shade right here. So very similar to Patrick Ta. Okay, so let's swatch this. And here is the Patrick Ta one. Oh yeah, so actually Patrick Ta looks a little bit more similar to the Dior one. So here we have REM Beauty in the shade Peach Planet. I love that name. Then we have the Dior one in the shade 004 Coral. And then we have Patrick Ta, the powder one in the shade Do We Know Her? So I did not use the actual cream. I've just used the powder. And you can see that they're very similar, very hard to tell. Ooh, it's really pretty. Okay, let's move on to bronzer, and then we're gonna apply the bronzer and then the blush. Okay, so the bronzer is the Hypernova Satin Matte Bronzer in the shade Out of Office. This is a sunbeam up and bask in the natural looking glow of this ultra sensorial vegan bronzer that's a virtually weightless powder that melts into the skin, perfectly lightweight for a sun-kissed satin matte look all year round. This is like a first impression, so keep that in mind. Okay, so it has the very similar type of packaging. The bronzer doesn't have a see-through area, so you can see the actual shade. It just has the name on the back, and it has 10 grams of product. This is made in Italy, and it has the same design inside, like the wavy design. So this is what Out of Office looks like. Very pretty. So we're gonna test this against a couple of my favorite bronzers here. So let's feel this product. It feels exactly the same as the blush. I love that because it feels very satin-like. Ooh, I love that shade. Let's intensify it here more. Very pretty. So this is Out of Office. Now let's compare it to, this is newer in my collection, Haus Labs in the shade Light Level 3. Very kind of similar in shades. Now let's see when it has the same feeling, very powdery when you touch it. Not as intense. It's lighter, but similar in tone. Okay, so let's move on to LYS. This is the LYS in the shade Motivate Light. So here they are side by side. Very similar in tone. Now this is more powdery, so it doesn't feel as satin-like like the Haus Labs and the REM Beauty. So again, very similar in tone. That nice warm tone to it. The REM Beauty seems the most intense. And now I'm going to compare it to my Dior Forever Natural Bronze in the shade Warm Bronze. And here they are. Now, same with the Dior one, it feels more powdery, not as creamy, but same shade. So here they all are. Okay, so we have REM Beauty, and this is in the shade Out of Office. Then we have House Labs in the shade Light Level 3. The next one is LYS in Motivate Light. And the last one is Dior in the shade Warm Bronze. So you can see that they're very similar in tones. Very pretty. Okay, so let's start playing with this. And I think I have to go very light-handed. It seems the most intense out of them all. Okay, so let's start with the bronzer. I'm going to use a BK Beauty 111 brush. And, oh, it's quite pigmented. You can see I just touched it and look how much product it picked up. So let's go slowly and do one side here. It looks okay. Let me see if I choose a different brush. Okay, I'm going to choose one of my favorite brushes. This is the Hourglass Dual-Ended brush. I want to see if I go with more of a rounded, fluffy brush, how it will look and how it will distribute the product. Okay, so I would suggest to go with more of a fluffy brush than dense brush. It seems like it distributes the product more evenly and not as patchy and intense. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. This is a great shade to use as on your eyelids as well. Like, look how pretty that is. Okay, so it picks up a lot of product. See? But it seems to blend fine. I don't have issues blending it. I just hate my hair always going into my face. Let me see if I can put those hairs up so we can work with this better. Okay. So it does blend very nicely. Again, I've noticed that with more of a dense brush, it could be patchy and harder to blend. With more of a soft, fluffy, round brush, it's easier to work with. So just touch the pen a little bit. Don't go heavy-handed because it picks up a lot of product. It's really pretty. I love the warmth it gives. Now, is it something super special that I haven't tried? Not really. It just feels like a nice bronzer. I do love the warmth of it, and I do love how it blends. It's not patchy at all. So you can see on my face. That's because I'm going with, let's go more. I'm going in with a round, fluffy brush. So yeah, I'm actually loving the shade. It's really pretty. So this is not a contour. This is a bronzer. So you can go in more heavy and you don't really have to be too precise on where you place the product. Just to warm up the face. But yeah, I don't see any issues with it. I love it doesn't look powdery. You can see how the product looks after I used it. So it looks quite nice. So here it is from afar. You can see that we have a very nice warm complexion. It blended nicely. You have a nice mirror here. Yeah, it's nothing. I just say be careful so that you use the perfect brush so that it doesn't create any type of patchiness, right? It seems like with more of a dense brush, you place the product and then it kind of gets stuck to that area and it could be patchy. So go in with more of a fluffy brush. That's what I've noticed. But other than that, I'm happy. I will reach for this. I love the shade. I think it warms up the complexion nice, easy to use. And I love that it doesn't look powdery. You know, it still gives my complexion a very nice glow. Okay, So let's I want to powder this area a little bit. So I'm gonna go in with my Givenchy Prisme Libre powder, and this is in the shade 3. So it's the pink one. I'm just gonna use a little bit in this area here to eliminate that extra shine. We've concluded that this blush is very similar in shade to the Dior one in Coral and Patrick Ta in Do We Know Her. So I'm gonna use this is just stained, this brush. This is the Blinked Brush F5, and let's see when we touch it. Now I'm gonna go just in the palm of my hand to make sure, because I'm not familiar with the formula yet. And let's see. Okay. So I don't think you need to be afraid. I'll do one side so you guys can see the difference. Okay, so it's very nice and corally and peachy. Now this is, if you don't like coral blushes or peach blushes on your skin tone, then this shade is not for you. But the formula seems to blend nicely. I don't see any type of patchiness. It looks really nice. Again, is it something super special? No, I think it's beautiful. Like, I don't hate it. I like it. But I would still like the Dior ones because it provides more of a natural glow compared to this one. But this one is still so pretty. Like, I love it. I love the fact that it doesn't feel powdery. So this is what it looks like on my cheek. It's pretty. So this is without and this is with. It's a very pretty shade. And I think with this one, you don't have to be as careful as with the bronzer because it picks up the perfect amount. You could still overdo it. Just go in slowly. Look how beautiful it looks. I really love it. I love the shade actually. I think it looks really nice. So I created more of an intense cheek look so you guys can actually see the color. Actually looks really pretty. The more it sits on the skin, you can still see the glow from the foundation coming through. It does not dry down the cheek where it takes away the glow from your foundation. Now this one doesn't come with a mirror. It just has the little window so you can see the shade. But I think it's really pretty. I'm actually loving it. It is very similar to my Dior one on the cheek, to tell you the truth. It blended very nicely. It feels like I have cream on my cheek. It's not heavy. It's beautiful. Ooh, I'm loving it. Okay, so let's do a lip color here, a lip combo. And then I'm going to come back. I mean, you can still wait for the lip combo, and then I'm gonna give you my final thoughts on this products. Okay, so for lip liner, I'm gonna use my One Size Beauty lip liner, and this is in the shade Shy But Fly. Okay, so let's take away the gloss. I love how the complexion looks. Okay, and for lipstick, I'm gonna use my Rare Beauty Tinted Lip Oil, and this is in the shade Honesty. Just want to have a nice nude brown lip. I think it goes really good with this bronzer and blush. Final thoughts. Do you need these products? Okay, price range, it's not super expensive. It's okay, better than other products. And let me see, gather my thoughts here. I'm very impressed, you know. I didn't have very high expectations. I think I've heard people you know, have mixed reviews on these products, but I am loving them. So the bronzer actually looks super nice, very smooth. Keep in mind that for the bronzer, it's a little bit more intense when you touch the product, but if you use a nice round fluffy brush, you don't have to use the hourglass brush that I've used, but anything that's more rounded and fluffy will distribute the product more evenly and more like a powder on your face than just packing it in one spot. And it seems to for this foundation, it seems to cling to it if I don't use a nice rounded fluffy soft brush. If you use more of a dense brush like what I used at first with Biki Beauty 111, I think this distributes the product more into one spot. With this particular formula, it's a little bit harder to blend, but I had no issues going in with this and blending it. So that's what I've noticed, but I'm actually loving the shade. This is in the shade Out of Office, and I think that it's not too warm, not too cool. It's just the perfect perfect color that it gives to your face, and perfect shade for a fair skin tone. I have very fair skin, so you can see that this looks really beautiful on me without overdoing it and without looking patchy or powdery or too dark. So this is a beautiful shade. I'm actually loving it. And the blush, I love how unique the packaging is, and you can see the color through it. This is in the shade Peach Planet, and I picked mine in peach because I don't have a lot of shades. As you saw, I only have my Dior Coral one and my Patrick Ta and Do We Know Her, and they are very similar in shades, very similar. Like the other two pull more pink. This is a little bit more warm, so I really am loving the shade. It's nothing that I don't have like this in my, I don't have anything like this in my collection. And the formula feels powder to cream, but it's a satin finish, satin matte finish. There's no glitters in it, so there's no sparkles in it, which I love. It gives it a very nice glow. Now the more it's set on my cheek, it gives me kind of the same finish as the Dior. It could also be that it is the foundation underneath. However, yeah, it doesn't look like I'm wearing any powder on my face. It looks like I have a cream melting product into my cheek, and that's the exact same feeling I'm getting with Dior. Same feeling I'm getting from Clinique blushes, very similar to this one. It looks like it's a cream product. It doesn't look like where the blush starts and where it ends. It blends very beautifully into the cheek, and I'm loving it. So if you were to pick one, whatever you want, because it's a blush and a bronzer, I definitely recommend both. It's nothing wrong with either. Even the bronzer, I'm loving it. Nothing wrong with it. I actually love everything about it. It looks very beautiful and even on the face, and the blush is just really a pretty formula. So definitely I'm excited to have them in my collection. I really hope that this was a helpful review for you guys in case you're interested in REM Beauty. It's very affordable. I love the packaging formula. It's beautiful. I don't think they don't sell it at Sephora Canada. I don't know about US, but you can find this in Canada at Shoppers Drug Mart. So yeah, I'm excited I have them. That's my review. Hope it was helpful. If it was, don't forget to subscribe, and I cannot wait to see you in my next one. Love you guys. Bye. Morning has broken, our windows are open.